A new study shows that Gen Alpha has over $100 billion in spending power. I'm joined now by DKC's president, Matthew Traub, who you conducted this study. So tell me, what were the most surprising findings from the study?
Sure. So we looked at this Gen Alpha cohort. Everyone's talking about Gen Z. Gen Alpha is the generation after that. They top out at about 14 years old. And we looked specifically at 8 to 14-year-olds, and we found a lot of interesting insights. But one of the most important ones is their financial power. They are these 8 to 14-year-olds are spending directly over $100 billion, $101 billion to be exact, in direct spending power. But they also influence 42%, according to their parents, of all household spending decisions. So the economic impact this generation is having already at this tender age is really significant. It's why we call them the gateway generation. They are a gateway to new brands, new technologies, new ideas across the entire family, not just contained within the 8 to 14-year-olds.
How did you conduct this study and collect this data?
Sure. Well, we actually surveyed the parents of the Gen Alpha kids. There are a lot of complications in terms of surveying 8 to 14-year-olds directly, but also this gave us a lot of insight into, again, as I said, how they're impacting the overall family's finances. So this was how parents were reporting them, and we looked at 1,000 parents of these 8 to 14-year-olds across the U.S.
What do you think this means for brands in the broader economy?
Well, if they're not paying attention to the Gen Alpha group, they should now. And but it does show the power that this generation has on consumerism in general. They are making, they're influencing decisions on things that you would expect, on what's bought for them, on the food that's in the refrigerator. But they're also making, influencing the family's decisions on new foods to eat, on travel destinations, on cars, on a whole range of products and services that you might not have expected. And their power is really significant.
Your study says that the average Gen Alpha kid has $67 to spend of their own money. Where are they getting this money from?
Yeah, well, they're getting it in part from, this is $67 a week, by the way. It's almost $3,500 a year. And they're getting the money from some places you might expect, allowances that either they are given or they earn, and also side jobs like they might rake leaves or do some babysitting, do chores that both in the house and for others. But then there's this whole area of side hustles that this very entrepreneurial generation is engaged in. 20% of these parents reported that their kids are either selling or reselling online goods. And that's just remarkable. Remember, these are 8 to 14-year-olds, and they're setting up their own stores effectively to sell or resell goods online. So they're earning their this income in a myriad of ways, including some new ones that wouldn't have been available without these technological platforms.
Your study, on the other hand, found that some of the economic uncertainty we've been facing is really forcing parents to have conversations with their children about saving money and budgeting. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a majority of parents told us that they've had to deny purchases or cut back on allowances as a result of economic uncertainty. But I will tell you that we've been tracking this generation for a little while, and their parents are mostly millennials. And these millennials had some really interesting formative experiences when it comes to the economy and economic challenges. They were already primed to better educate this generation, their children, than perhaps previous generations have. So you have a vast majority of parents who report things like they're teaching them how budgeting works and how to take care of their finances, and just generally being more aware of their financial situation. And these kids are already primed for it because they have more information available to them, and they're savvier in how they use that information in how they consume.
In about 20 seconds, anything else you want us to know about this study?
Yeah, so it's just the group is better informed. This group of Gen Alpha kids is better informed. They are more access to and more of an ability to use AI and other technological elements, and they're more influential and focused on the ins and outs of consumerism than any generation before. So we should be watching out for them.
Matthew Traub, thank you so much from DKC. Thank you for joining us at the New York Stock Exchange.